How's it going, UBL Nation? My name is Broken Pinky, back again, once again, with another installment of the Season 15 Pickems. Now, we're here for Week 4, and as always, I have a special guest. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Orange, sometimes Orange Good Boy. Don't take it out of context. And yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, you're just a good boy, and just don't make it weird, and we're chilling.
Exactly. Like, I am a morally excellent male. Nothing more, nothing less.
Fair enough. But yeah, we are in the third. We're entering our fourth week here, about the halfway point of the season. So that playoff push is going to be a big deal. So I'm excited to see how all these shake out. We already have our first matchup in front of us, featuring Orange himself versus the St. Louis Talonflames. So tell us a little bit about it. What do you think?
I mean, one thing I noticed right off the bat is, of course, the stat spread, and it's not the most fun saying a team slower than mine, because I definitely love my trick room, but I know I'll definitely manage somehow, and I know I don't have to rely on trick room anyway, so it's not like it's a big deal at the end of the day. But I'd say I got this will be fun.
Yeah, I definitely think you have like a good matchup here, because like your team likes to be in the sun, and Pyrus' team kind of needs to be in the sun to work. For a lot of the guys.
Oh yes, very much. Oh.
So having that flutter, having
especially with Zarude.
Yeah, even the Zarude with the Leaf Guard, but like Flutter, Slither, and Arcanine are all looking real solid.
Yeah, I can actually run items on my Area 0 mons, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean, Slither doesn't have the best time into that Landorus, but like, other than that, I mean, you can even run Clear Amulet and just hit it with like a CC, do fat damage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure something will work out there. I mean, it's Landorus at the end of the day, so if it doesn't work out against Landorus, it's whatever.
Fair enough. Do you know if hidden power is legal? Like, can you just run HP Ice on every guy?
I don't think it's legal, because I don't even think it exists in like Scarlet and Violet. So like they just, it's just like keep it legal.
Yeah, but I don't know. I thought like it was Nat Dex. I think like you can run like return normal types still, but I'll have to look at the rules.
But even with return missing, I still think that there's definitely still great coverage to work with on my end in the end. Like, I could say that I can at least have like one move within stab or outside stab that can definitely deal with anything I feel that may be threatening.
Oh yeah. I mean, your team is extremely strong here, and I think you're, like you said a bit earlier, starting to shake off that rust, get a little bit more in your element. And I think, Trick Room here is still very solid for you, because Dragalge and Masharna are still under speed, everything relevant. I guess Trapinch could be a problem in that regard, but
if at all, but it's a Trapinch, so I mean, I'm not the most familiar when it comes to like Baby Montex, so if I could be caught off guard by Baby Montec, but that may just be an excuse to go Google it right now or something. So,
I mean, it's basically just Trick Room Dugtrio. It's got 100 attack, it's got fat ground moves, and it's got Arena Trap.
True, I can definitely see the tech there, but I know that mons I usually lead with would probably be able to cover it. So I mean, it's not too much stress at the end of the day. I think it's a nice even fight. We all got things we can use against each other. I think it's just down to the luck of the dice roll of aim, or the dice roll of what mons we decide to use for the matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie here. So this is also interesting because both you and Pyrus have yet to win a set. But I got you winning this one. I think you have a really good matchup.
I'm definitely not going to jinx it for myself or anything, but I mean, I've definitely been feeling more confident this season.
So yeah, dude. Are you gonna give the matchup to yourself, you think? Or to pick yourself to win the matchup?
That is definitely an excellent question. And my answer would be I think I might. Because I know I definitely have a lot of well-rounded mons, in all honesty, that I can feel somewhat safe running whatever I want compared to last season, which I just had like throwaway mons that I didn't strategize with at all. But this season, I actually have a game plan that has been thought out thanks to the brain of me and also Winda.
But yeah, I mean, like, Fluttermane Shadow Ball is completely unresisted. Dragalge's stabs are unresisted here. With adaptability, it's super scary. Zarude is really strong. Rotom's really strong. You can cook here. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be able to manage something, but we never know.
You never know. I mean, it is Pokemon. Pyrus can definitely do some stuff. But I think you got this, Orange. I believe in you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have two of the top teams in this league. Actually, number 2 and number 3 in the standings. We have Lord Nobody versus the Fat Rats.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I haven't faced nobody yet, and I actually don't watch replays at all. I just kind of going in blind for the fun of it. So I don't have much experience, but like I know some of these mons are definitely strong. As for Fat Rat, though, I recently lost. Oh, I accidentally clicked away. Okay, there we go. I recently lost to Fat Rat. However, I did get that. That was my single match win, I think, unless I'm somehow misremembering. So if Fat is ranking high, then I'd say it's a good thing that I got at least one match win. That's like huge for me.
I mean, Rat beat Cannor, he beat you, and he had a 1-2 loss against the Fairfax for Alligator, who's another team that's been really high up in the rankings. So Rat's had a really good season, but Nobody obviously has been undefeated thus far as set counts go. 2-0 over Gig, 2-0 over someone else. Hold on, I should have it pulled up. 2-1 over Cannor, and then another 2-0 win over the Fairfax for Alligator. So, I mean, Nobody has had a very strong season thus far, and I'm sure he wants to convert it into more wins.
I mean, I can believe it because, like, based on like what I historically know about some mons, I know that Colossal's probably huge. I know Blastoise is probably huge. You can never go wrong with Mega Salamence. It's just there's definitely a lot of mons. Like, while I may be somewhat unfamiliar, I at least know enough history to know that I can see the vision on why Nobody has been going undefeated.
Yeah, I mean, Genesect has been extremely strong. I think Forge has also been really good. But as for Rat, I think the big picture, or the big like question that Rat has asked is, how do you deal with Celesteela? And I think that's going to be a question that Nobody kind of struggles to answer with Altaira.
Yeah, I mean, Celesteela, that was like what probably did it for me in my matches, because like that's just the perfect counter to my Fluttermanes, and so like I didn't have that coverage when maybe I needed it, and because Celesteela would just immediately take it out, especially with the Power Herb too. So Celesteela is definitely a nice wrench in the cog when it comes to dealing with some things, because like with Colossal, it's got the rock type, right? I'm not misremembering, but like, steel versus rock, it's enough said. So like, dealing with that. And I know that I think the mon that I actually feared the most going against Rat was Terrakion, but compared to what is on the board with Nobody, I definitely think that Terrakion is not a fear that Nobody should have, unlike I did, because whenever I analyze Pokemon, the first thing I usually go is see their their KD spread first, and whenever I saw them like 9 on tracking, I was like, okay, I gotta keep an eye out. Even though at the end I was like, it should have been Celesteela that I kept an eye out.
Yeah.
So like those are definitely.
Sorry, go ahead.
The two, yeah, but yeah, those Celesteela and Terrakion are definitely like what I'd say are the big ones for Rat.
Yeah, I mean, Celesteela and Terrakion have been 2 of the top kill leaders in this league so far. Number 2 and number 3, respectively. But nobody has some strong kill leaders. Florges and Genesect bringing in number 8 and number 9 as well. So, yeah, I don't know. It's been kind of hard to gauge nobody's season because I don't really understand. Like, my brain is not accustomed to the way that his team works, but his team works really, really well. With the double redirection, the double tailwind, and like stuff like Genesect and Hariyama and Mega Salamence all just hit really, really hard on both sides. I guess less Hariyama, but Genesect, Mega Salamence just hit incredibly hard. And I think that's just sort of the game plan that nobody's been playing towards throughout this season, and it's been really effective.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I know that an ethic that I've been trying to keep in mind for some seasons is to go for speed, although this season less speed because more speed for me, so it's a win. But last season, I know whenever I decided, hey, I should probably lock in, I went speed, so because I came to recognize that speed and power being a glass cannon isn't nothing to be afraid of. Although glass cannon wise, you don't really have that with stuff like Mega Salamence, who has just amazing stats all around. So, but I've come to more appreciate having big speeds to support big punches, because that's what you need at the end of the day. Because a punch needs, a fast movement.
Yeah, and I mean, Ment is like the fastest relevant Pokemon here. I guess Kilowattrel is a bit faster, but it's not the scariest thing in the world. But like aside from that, Maushold and Terrakion are really fast on Rat side, so even just like simple beat up on Terrakion or just Maushold plus Celesteela for Rat looks really scary. I do think that nobody is going to have to Terra something to get rid of that Celesteela game to game, whether that be the Genesect or the Florges or something 100%. Else. Just because Colossal doesn't hit it that hard. But I think if nobody can get rid of Celesteela, I think nobody's in a pretty good position to win the game from there. Because like you said, it's kind of hard for Terrakion to get set up against a team like nobody with a double redirection. You can't beat up your own Terrakion that effectively.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm going to give this one to nobody, but I think it's going to be a really good set between these two players.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Do you also want to give it to nobody, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would say, though, because, like, if nobody preps for the Celesteela, then I think that's probably game, because I think everything else just probably counters Rat's team at an average enough level that probably not much prep time is needed.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not even talking about like the Sinistcha, which can just like burn everything, and like the Hariyama, which is like really good at fake out, Blastoise fake out, follow me. Just a lot of scary stuff on nobody's team. That's really starting to come together. All right, next up, we got the Mogul Mercenaries versus Titanic Destruction. We have, I believe this is Vatrena versus Kris.
Okay.
So Kris is coming off a pretty big win in the last week against Pyrus, which is a really fun set. I'd recommend watching it if you guys haven't seen it already, because it was a lot of fun. But we have Hard Rain plus Vatrena's Terrain, Gigas Weezing, Trick Room team.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of good going on between both sides.
But yeah, I mean, any Pokemon like sticking out to you in terms of like This guy's a big threat in here.
That is an excellent question. I mean, I know that I lost to Polytoad and Ludicolo, so those you definitely can't sleep on.
Yeah, I mean, Ludicolo and Polytoad are really good here. Deoxys attack, though, commands a ton of respect for Kris, because it doesn't have the best ways of getting rid of Psychic Terrain, and the only Psychic resist is to Blade, which is not ideal. So I think Kris has to tear something in a Dark type.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not gonna underestimate the Blade, because like it caught me off guard, because like I definitely need to learn to not underestimate like pre-evolutions or something, because I gotta remember that Eviolite exists, some form of tech exists, and it was definitely a lesson learned whenever it came to that matchup. Although some of these ones I might have just forgotten the matchup, so that's how Polytoad, Ludicolo, Deblade, and Zapdos. I think I forgot everything else, but that's just like one side. Now on the other side, I definitely haven't fought these yet, I think, unless I'm just misremembering, which I could always be because I'm forgetful. But Regigigas, Indeedee, Deoxys, and there's definitely a lot of good mons that I can kind of see the vision for. Some I may not be familiar with, but with like my general understanding, I could definitely see the visions of how these work.
I mean, Weezing in general is a very disruptive Pokemon against 100%. A rain team, just because like you can turn off Polytoad's Drizzle and you can activate your own Regigigas at the same time. It's also worth noting that Drifloon is faster than Ludicolo. Like Drifloon with Unburden is faster than Ludicolo in Rain, so it can outspeed, hit it hard with like an Air Slash, and that is
true.
Something that Kris has to watch out for. And I mean, in general, Drifloon actually has pretty good coverage into Kris's team. And it's just hard for Kris to really like stop the terrain, because like it's very reliant on like this double fake out. You have Shadow Sneak to Blade, Aqua Jet Azu, and like E-Speed Lucario. And Indeedee just kind of shuts it all down. So Kris has to find a way to deal with the Psychic Terrain, because Vatrena Psychic Terrain core is very, very scary here.
Yeah, I mean, I know I definitely would be scared of facing these, because I've definitely had some psychic experience last season whenever I fought Gambit. So, like, I definitely remember some of these mons last season and to be scared of them. But, I mean, there's definitely a lot of good going on for the Rain team, although I imagine that there won't be a mistake like I made that I discovered because of my matchup. Because if anybody goes to look at my replays my names are not at the peak right now, but with Titanic Destruction, I made the mental lapse of thinking Trick Room and Tailwind at the same time were a good idea. So that was a learning experience of clicking it in and not thinking for a minute. But it was funny because the turn order was just a real mess.
Yeah.
So sometimes plays are so stupid. They loop around to being genius because it could just throw people off. However, I think it's a one-trick pony. Now that everybody's aware of it, I should just never do that again.
Yeah, you got to go back to the kitchen and cook up something even more fantabulous.
Something actually strategically viable.
But yeah, I think just looking at this matchup, I think Vatrena is really, really solid in here. I think just like there's a very easy 5, and then last up you can bring like Eggy and Kris. I don't know what kind of answers Kris has for that in return. It's just rough when the speed matchups is this lopsided for Kris to really get something going. And I think Vatrena has been kind of like flying under the radar a little bit. You know, not had the best start to his season, but I think this is a great chance for him to like sort of turn it all around.
Yeah, like there's definitely a lot of good, fast, heavy hitters on the team that can definitely squeeze out some wins. So this is definitely a nice rounded out matchup that could go either way depending on who brings what.
Absolutely, it can go either way. But I think I'm going to be favoring Vatrena in this matchup.
Yeah, maybe Vatrena as well, because I imagine Vatrena will not make the mistakes I made.
All right. So far, we are in agreement for these matchups. But yeah.
Ooh.
Next up, we have. Oh wait, I need to bring in my water bowl. Yeah, this segment is back. Dragging water bowl into his place. We have the Fairfax Alligator and we have the Flower Mound Finion here in this little matchup. This is an interesting one. Both these coaches have been having really good seasons compared to stuff we've been seeing in the past.
Yeah, this is definitely a season. This is definitely a matchup.
I mean, yeah, because Lyric.
I think I faced the Pharrell. I think I faced the Pharrell Gators, if my memory serves correct. Because I swear I remember that Merc. I think I remember that Murkrow, unless I'm misremembering now.
Yes, you did face the Alligators in week 1.
That's right.
But yeah, Ares has had a really good season, 2-1. Only lost to nobody in the most recent week. And Lyric, I believe, is 1-1. I don't know if she's played her week 2 yet, or if that's still not yet played with Gig. But Lyric, I mean, a few seasons back, she came back. You know, had to shake off some rust. Last season, 1 game away from playoffs, so I think this is a good, you know, opportunity for her to make it to playoffs, but she has a pretty formidable opponent in front of her in Big E of the Fairfax Alligator.
Yeah, definitely can't sleep on Eris's team, because I know that Megalopony hits hard. You can't underestimate Sandy Shocks and just Ogerpon. That's just like a good idea always to include on a team, if you know it's a team that can include Ogerpon.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Ogerpon goes, Lyric at least has Turtonator, which quad resists both of its stabs, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, like 100%. Like as like when I was gonna talk about Lyric, like got Turtonator, you got Tapu, which could be pretty funny to use. Got the Bull, maybe even some Gothitelle or Raichu action. Like I can definitely see the visions on many of these. I have not too much experience with Orthworm. Vikavolt, I feel like that could be funny. Jugulus, I mean, I feel like that is probably, it gives off the vibes of probably being viable. I don't know. I'm not too experienced with Jugulus. Maybe, unless that was really funny to you, and maybe I'm wrong. It's just not good.
Yeah, Jugulus is actually kind of interesting here with the Walking Wake, because Lyric has pretty easy ways of setting terrain, obviously, with that Goko. Big E has the Murkrow, which can set Sunny Day for the Wake, and then also set Tailwind, which makes Wake like barely faster than the Jugulus, because the speed stats are literally 1 point different. So like, that's a funny little interaction, I guess. But
yeah, I think just like looking at things, there's definitely funny interactions going on. I think when it comes to like countering the other team, Lyric might have a slight advantage typing wise. Maybe.
I was actually thinking the advantage
I
might go
mean,
to Big E on this one, to be honest.
I mean, maybe I might be misremembering some types, huh?
But yeah, I mean, because like Lopunny is incredibly threatening, especially because it's immune to Intimidate. Ogerpon, Wake, and Sun are all really nice, and even like the slow mode. Big E has 3 mons slower than Lyric's Vikavolt, which is like the main Trick Room threat that the Flower Mound Finneon has. So like I think fast or slow mode, I think Big E is looking kind of in the advantage, and I think Lyric really has to like devise a strong game plan, probably with like a Gothitelle, to like pick off important members. But I think just looking at the matchup, I think Big E has a lot of like streamlined play that works to his advantage.
You know, I can see that, and I'll just say it aloud, like, and like as somebody who has lost to eras, like, there's definitely like a lot more roundedness and cohesiveness that I can just like look at it and be like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
I think in this matchup I'm gonna.
Lyrics,
Sorry, go ahead.
It was with some of Lyrics, mom, like, yeah, they're definitely pretty good. Like, I can definitely say some of these are pretty good. But some of them they seem to be situational. Because like Vikavolt seems a bit situational. Zoro might be situational, but I mean, I feel like if you're drafting baby mons, you're doing it for a situation that's probably coming up. So, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think Lyric's team is just a team that may require an extra brain cell, kind of like my team, as many of the higher ups have said on their original rankings, is that there's a lot of thought to be put into each week.
Yeah, I agree that like Lyric definitely has to put a lot of thought into all of her matchups, just with this team, because it's very unorthodox, but it's been working pretty well for her. But I think more like the conventional strength that Eris has just looks a lot more threatening to me. So I think this matchup could go either way, but I think I'm going to give it to Big E for my prediction for week 4. What do I do? What do you think, Orange?
Who do I get it to? That is definitely an excellent question. I mean, all things considered, and from I'm probably being biased from who I fought up to this point, but I might also give it to Big E, because like whether the thought is put in or not, that's something I can't predict. So I'd rather be safe.
All right. That is that matchup. Up next, we have the Coda Fan Club versus the Unbroken Leaves. Here we have Cathy, we have Gig, and we have to say goodbye to the Tauros. Goodbye, Tauros.
Goodbye, Tauros.
But yeah, Cathy's been on a warpath this season so far. Has not lost a game yet, and is yeah. Stack Attack is very strong.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of mods on each side. I mean, I don't know how scary Stack Attack is off the top of my head, honestly. So I can't really say too much about that.
I mean, it's got big attack, big defense, trick room and 13 speed, and it can Terra, I believe. And being able to Terra out of that type is really scary.
Ooh. Making me scared having a matchup. Oh gosh. But yeah, I mean, and with that info in mind, with Like there's definitely a lot of trick room or not going on. This seems like a fun matchup, although I feel like trick room, stake attack, sweeping or whatever, but do gig in like to Gig's benefit, there's definitely a lot of good mons here. You can't go wrong with Ogrepon once again. You can't go wrong with Goldango. And like, I can't speak for all the others, but I know that I've considered at one point drafting a Gouging Fire. So, I mean, I imagine that's pretty good, like, but yeah, I think if there's definitely trick room going on, there's definitely a lot to be scared about.
Yeah. I think for Gig, I think Scrafty is going to be really important. Just with that Intimidate to slow down, not just the Shagataga, but also that Marowak and that Roaring Moon. All of which are pretty
100%.
prominent threats. I think conversely, though, Manectric on Cathy's side is honestly pretty scary just because it outruns everything. There's no electric immunity, and I guess other than Palmot, but it just clicks fat electric moves and does damage.
Yeah. Like, it's Cathy's team is definitely scary. I think that's like something we've already established, and I think that's all we can really say. But I mean, in Gig's benefit, once again, there's definitely like options. There's definitely options because, like, I mean, because what I'm trying to remember things all off the top of my head here, but from the weekend, from how weakened his team may be after that terror is over with. Because like Rock and Steel, like there's definitely a lot here that could cover Rock and Steel, like as you said, like with Scrafty. But Steel is always a scary type, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean,
it's definitely a bit of fear. So I mean, I definitely think like a clutch mons would be like Scrafty, maybe Goldango, since that's his own steel type and it's Goldango. And as for everything else, I mean that can be cherry picked as needed.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Cathy has a really strong matchup here. We didn't even talk about Tapu Fini, which looks insane into Gig's team other than the Ogrepon. And Ogrepon can get, like, Ogrepon is annoying with Follow Me shenanigans for sure. But I think, like, Alolan Marowak is very good at just kind of exploding annoying Pokemon because, like, Flare Blitz and Shadow Bone look really, really scary into Gig's team.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like sure, I may have applauded Goldango earlier, but Goldango's got to watch out. Like there's a lot of mon that if they have their use here, they might be still afraid of Marowak. But if not Marowak, then definitely Roaring Moon or Stakataka.
I think at this point in the season, Cathy is the player to beat. And I think Gig is definitely a good player. But I feel like Cathy is just like... She's showing like it's not big three, it's big me.
Yeah, like it's hard to deny that like if there's a choice to make here, it's definitely Cathy.
Yeah, I think
Like I'm spending too much brain power trying to think what can Gig can do because it's just Cathy has drafted so well.
Yeah, I mean even Riolu is like pretty solid in here because you can take like an Ivy Cudgel, or you can take like a Wood Hammer away from Tapu Fini into the Riolu, or like I don't know, you could take a Scale Shot away from the Roaring Moon into the Riolu. Like just a lot of options, and I think Cathy is very capable of using them well. So yeah, that being said, on to our last matchup for week number 4. We have Team Skull and the Fargo Pheasantipity. We have Gambit and we have Cannor to wrap things up.
Oh, dang. Gotta make me choose between my besties. How dare you?
Yeah.
But that aside, there's definitely a lot of funny stuff going on here. And I'm here for it.
I mean, just look at the top end speed on both these teams. Between Noivern, Talonflame, Masquerada, Sneasler, like, it's all, like, scarily close. Like, Talonflame is technically the fastest one. But, like, Noivern is threatening both. Masquerada can run, like, Power Gem, funny stuff. I think he gets, like, Zen Headbutt or something stupid. Like,
yeah, I mean, like, right off the bat, I mean, there's definitely, like, some pretty, like, evenness going on here, but dare I say it, but Gambit might have more coverage to Cannor's team.
yeah, I think
Like, if I
Mawile
were
is a
to-
huge Pokemon.
Yeah, like Mawile can take care of Guard, Rhydon, probably other things if I actually look at what non-stab moves it has.
I mean, it can knock off, like, Porygon's a Violite, really, which is, like, scary.
True.
It can run Psychic Terrain, boosted Psychic Fangs. If it wants to absolutely send Sneasler flying, or just Iron Head it to also kill it. Yeah, Mawile is really scary here. You can just run 4 attacks, honestly. Like, you can just run, like, Play Rough, Brick Break, Knock Off, Thunder Punch, or something like that, and you just destroy this team.
Yeah, like there's a lot of coverage here, so I think that, I mean, Gambit definitely is the advantage. Little to no debate with that. I mean, like, Cannor definitely has some things he can do for sure. I mean, I don't know what goes on in his head as much as I know the guy, but I mean, it just depends on what's his game plan, because he's definitely got a lot to be scared of.
Yeah, I feel like Gambit has a
So like, from just like an outside perspective, just by looking at the objective side of things, Gambit definitely is the advantage. So it just comes down to what will happen in the match in the end, and if Cannor decides to surprise everyone, that would be very fun to see.
Yeah, I think turn 1 is going to be very important for both sides here.
Yeah, very much so. That
I
turn
think-
1 is defining.
I think if Gambit sets up Trick Room, they win. I think if Cannor can stop Trick Room from being set up, then he wins. That's where I'm at right now.
Ooh.
But even still, like, if Trick Room goes up, Rhydon is pretty scary. With stuff like just high horsepower, Mega Horn, stuff like that.
Yeah, like, Rhydon is definitely a clutch thing to look out for, and Cannor will definitely have to make sure to protect that fucking Rhydon.
Yeah. I also think something that could be kind of silly is, like, Indeedee is a pretty obvious ring for Cannor to stop Mawile Sucker Punch, but that means that Farigiraf can run Expanding Force, which is really scary into Cannor's team.
Yeah. Expanding Force, not fun, which is, it's just like, Gambit's team is just very tightly woven, so it's kind of hard to see, like, where to prick it in, because, like, you could stop one thing, but then you're gonna have to worry about another thing. It's just, what is the game plan going into stop these? Like, what's the move here? What's gonna go down? It's just a whole lot of thinking, which I know Cannor has definitely thought of. If anybody has seen Cannor's table of statting things out or whatever it is he's doing. Like, he's definitely putting in the work. So I'm definitely excited to see what he's gonna do, because now that I remember that, he's definitely got a plan. I'd say like he's definitely gonna be prepared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a really hard. I think this is gonna be the matchup of the week. Either this one or nobody versus Rat, because like this is a really tense matchup. I think.
Yeah.
Who do you think has it? Do you think?
I might have to side with Gambit, because like as much as I know Cannor has been putting in like the work, I'm sure that we've got a Doctor Strange holding up the pointer finger one going on here. But I'm probably going to be a bit of pessimist when it comes to these Doctor Strange odds, so I'm choosing Gambit.
I think I will be so bold as to disagree for the first time today. I think I'm gonna give it to Cannor. If I can find my keys. There we go.
Very fair, honestly. Like Cannor definitely has put in the work. Mm-hmm. I would say. I'm sure he's probably putting in the work.
But yeah, I think that's gonna be. Sorry, what were you saying?
Honestly, I forgot what I was gonna say. I don't even think I was going anywhere with that.
Well, I guess on that note, that is going to be the end of the Week 4 Pickems here for UBL season number 15. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Orange, for joining me on this little adventure.
Happy to be here.
And to the rest of you guys playing your games, good luck, have fun. Flinch with your rock slides, crit with your close combats or something. And have yourselves a good one. Peace.
Beware my tapier.